Today we discuss Critical Role's Campaign 4's first session and how you too can make great session zeros on Dungeons and Chances. I just watched the premiere of Critical Role's Campaign 4, and wow, it was incredible. Once again, we're reminded how much we can learn from our friends at Critical Role, and in this case, from the amazing Brennan Lee Mulligan. But here's the thing, you don't need to be a professional voice actor, have a professional studio, a massive budget, or just be as great as they are. You can bring that same level of connection and immersion to your own table. I mean, look, I've got production value. You can feel the love, right? So, what made it work so well? Well, let's talk about what Critical Role did so right and how you can bring that kind of magic into your own games. So, the opening sequence, which took the entire session, the entire session was like one very long rolled out introduction to characters, but also begins to seed into what's to become. It's absolutely the best opening sequence, opening session that I have ever witnessed, and there was no combat. Now, I love roleplay, but this was next level intrigue and just interesting. We learned so much from them. Now, how did they do this? What made it shine? Well, I would say there's just a few things. One is they took their time. There is no doubt that this wasn't put together in a 4-hour session zero. They took time. Now, can you take as much time as what they did? They could have taken at least a month to put all of this together. Now, of course, most of us won't have time or even care to go through that much detail prior to the first session of a campaign. However, what they did and what you can do in what I would say maybe a week's time is really flesh out relationships and connections with the other player characters, and maybe with some NPCs that will be introduced from the beginning. They seeded lore, factions, and personal ties into it before the session was over. We kind of knew who was who and what connections they had to each other and who are they kind of tied to and who are they not tied to. Well, we need to rethink our session zero. We all know that we have to go over things like lines and veils, safety tools, and character creation. But what if we stretched that out and made it into something more meaningful? This is what I call an extended session zero. So, how would I do that? Before we even get to the session zero, we need to have one-on-one discussions with each player. Have them understand a little bit what this campaign setting's about. Let them ask questions, what exists, what doesn't exist, and allow them to make their own creations, maybe their own NPCs. Have them come up maybe with a faction. Let them build their character up to a certain point prior to the session zero, at least halfway through, so that when the session zero comes up, there's little for them to do other than make the finishing touches and roll those stats, but we'll get to that in a minute. So the first thing I begin with always are my lines and veils, safety tools, and a little overview of the setting's tone and themes. make sure that we're all on the same page and we're not tripping ourselves up before we even get this campaign started. This sets the ground rules. It's very important, but it doesn't have to take very long at all. Once we've got that common foundation and everyone feels comfortable about what's coming next, let's build upon it. Work through the rest of the character builds as a group. I love rolling stats live at the table. I have done this now multiple times, and it is must-see TV as everyone's watching those rolls and getting excited when they see big numbers come on there. It starts to get that group camaraderie before they even have their players finished. Now, if you watched Critical Role, you saw those stat blocks. Jeez, they were a little high, to say the least. Now, what I found out from the rumor mill and what Google could teach me, or ChatGPT, is that they used 46 dropped the lowest, and any characters that had a total of 71 or less was re-rolled. So therefore, all of their characters would have higher than average builds. Now, you can do that for sure, but me, one of my favorite characters that I've ever had in a campaign was horrible. Their highest stat was 13, multiple single digits, and they just seemed like someone that wouldn't be able to do much. However, they were the hero of their campaign, and it was a blast. After you have the character built, let's discuss backstory. Sit with each player, explore their ideas, help them massage it into this world, into this story. Allow them to have their creativity shape the campaign. And our job as Dungeon Masters is just to find where we can tweak that so it fits this setting and it fits what we've had built. This is going to really help them dive in deeper into the immersion, as they're going to care a lot more about what's happening, and they're going to understand it because some of it was their own creation. Then connect the party together. Have them ask questions. Who knows who? Daggerheart has a great mechanic for this. I would suggest looking up what Daggerheart does. Once they can discuss things like, hey, do I know? Who would I possibly know here? How could we connect ourselves? Maybe we have shared past, mentors, enemies, friends, factions. Let the group decide how they're linked. Listen to them carefully, because some of their ideas that they like would be perfect things for us as game masters, dungeon masters, to sprinkle into the campaign over time. This will really link them into the world building and make them feel very much a part of it, and we haven't even started yet. Now, here is the key. Keep the conversation going above and beyond past our session 0. This can lead up to the first session, and maybe sometimes even a little bit further into the first few sessions of the campaign. This is a way for you to really flesh those things out with the players, and that way they're going to really feel to be a part of this world. That's what we're looking for. Build the story before we even get to the first session. So that first session is going to roll around. We want to give a spotlight to each character, but instead of just having them describe their characters, we want to give them a moment they can role play. Brennan Lee Mulligan did this with each character. Now, I don't want to give spoilers, but there's a funeral that connects everyone. And he asks each player, each character, where were they when a certain event happened? And for them to describe how they felt, for them to describe the moment in their own eyes. How did they see this? How did it make them feel? This allowed them to really get into the role play right at the beginning and give everyone else an idea on who that person is a little bit, especially in connection with everything that was happening in this first episode. So from there on, we're role playing and building story, and there's no turning back. I like to think of storytelling as a team sport. Collaborative storytelling and role play is what I'm here for. So when everyone's invested early into the drama, the momentum, the fun, it just flows organically from there. So yeah, that's how I want to run a session zero from now on. What about you? Let me know and drop a comment and tell me, hey, how do you approach session zero? What do you think? What did you think about Critical Role's first episode of season 4? And if you watched this and didn't mind it so much, hit that like button and subscribe if you want more content, including more beautiful backdrops of hearts with unedited videos. As you can definitely tell, this video had, well, no editing. Also, I have a Patreon. I'm going to begin putting a lot of information out there. It's free to join. I will be putting content there, especially getting into role play tips, voice acting tips, and other things to allow us to really get into character more. And for paid members, for a small amount per month, you'll get access to short adventures, maps, NPC ideas, and much more. All the info's down below. I want to thank you all for watching this video, and ciao.